Happy Friday, friends. Welcome to my Stampin' Piece studio. I'm Mary Nabe, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. Super cold here today, but it's not quite as cold as it is in other parts of the U.S., further north and the Northeast. But 15 degrees, I don't even remember what the wind chill is. But anyways, it's a pretty day though, sun is shining. So today's Friday. Again, I had another session on my blogging intensive class, which is intense. And after that, I just needed a break, needed to walk on the treadmill, give my brain a break. So that's why I moved today's Facebook Live from 2 to 4. So thank you for accommodating me, and maybe we'll even pick up some new viewers since we're on at a different time today. If you subscribe to my email newsletters, I did send out a class to go announcement yesterday for the Lucky Clover class. I had a very, very, very limited number of Lucky Clover stamp sets and punches for option 1, anticipating that that punch might sell out, which it did end of last week. Stampin' Up! Will not be getting any more of the Lucky Clover punches. So I knew those would go fast, and that's why I only advertised that class yesterday through my email newsletter. Please know, if you read that and you saw that the option 1 kits did sell out in 30 minutes. I only had 6, and those did sell out in 30 minutes. I am still selling option 2 with the card supplies, and you also get a package of the sequins and a package of the pastel sequins, I should say, and a package of gold foil in addition to the card supplies. Plus, I sell the PDF tutorial for $15. So you can still get options 1 and 2, but if you did not read that email yesterday and you're reading it today, please know option 1 is sold out. And I know people are disappointed that we can't get more of those punches, and I'm sorry, I wish we could. I expected that to be a big selling class for me, and that's why I bought a few ahead of time, but unfortunately I didn't even get to list my class when I wanted to before that was sold out. So I'm sorry. It's kind of the sign of the times. I know that happens with lots of other companies as well, but fortunately we have lots of other great products that we can craft with. Today I'm going to be working with the Delicate Desert Suite, and I'm going to make 3 different cards, and I think we should get started right now because this could run a little bit long since I'm making 3 different cards for you today. So stay with me. I'm going to move my camera to my workspace, and then we'll get started. While I'm doing that, please share this live video and invite others to join us. That really helps me reach more people with the crafts if you share. Oops. Okay, my camera stand is giving me fits lately, and I keep trying to fix it, and it just doesn't want to stay where it's supposed to, no matter how hard I try. I'm trying to, I tried to stick something in here to make it hold, and it just doesn't want to. And I've got it as tight as it can go, or as tight as my hands can make it. So let's cross our fingers that it gets me through this Facebook Live. Okay, I want to start off first of all by showing you where the Delicate Desert Suite is located. So it's in our current mini catalog on page 42 and 43. All right, lots of great products included with it. and many of them you'll see me use today. So to start with, we have the Delicate Desert Designer Series paper. As you would guess, it has sort of colors you would see in the desert, but also kind of that desert Southwest theme going on both sides of the paper. All right. And it's not necessarily, I wasn't sure I would even like it, to be 100% honest. But the more I work with it, the more I do. And the more ideas I'm getting to use with the whole suite, really. But one thing I want to point out is there are a number of patterns and prints in here that would certainly work well for lots of different cards. I love this one, and to me, I think this would be a really pretty for sympathy or thinking of you, hope and encouragement card, birthday, anything, but I simply love that pattern. All right. And today, I'm going to be using the back of that one. I'm going to use this for today. And let me show you the bundle that it coordinates with. Desert Details stamp set and the Desert Details dies. And then we have some fun gold faceted sequins. And then it also comes with this ribbon, which feels very, I would say velvet-like. It is kind of thick. I think you could do some fun things with this on your paper crafts, but to make a bow with it and put on a card would be a little too much, a little too thick, but great to use in other ways. And the ribbon is the only thing I'm not using for today's project. I'm going to start, first of all, by pulling up these 2 frame dies. I'm also going to pull this, well, I won't because I might lose those. Don't want to do that. Okay. So the first thing I want to show you is how I forgot to show one thing. In that suite, we also have the dry brush metallics paper. Dry brush metallics paper. Our metallics are always white on the reverse side, in case you didn't know that. Those are the only DSPs, those specialty DSPs. The regular DSPs, we print on both sides. But here it is, kind of the blues and greens, some soft succulent in here, and then this is more of the corals. And I am going to use this piece that I already cut to size. This measures 5 1/8 inch by 3 7/8 inches, okay? 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And the reason I did that is, I think you'll see here, always tricky showing you things when I have to use the big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but I do for these frame dies. And then for the other die cutting today, I'll switch to my mini machine. But I intentionally am using those dimensions because I want this to fit really closely. I want that large frame to fit really closely to the size of my paper. And then, and I think I need, let's see. I don't have any washi tape close, but I have regular Scotch tape close. Which I don't really want. Let me think about this. I really don't want that Scotch tape touching the paper at all. Oh, you know what I learned this week, and I haven't been able to go out and buy any yet. Just haven't been out. But on the weekend, I was away at a craft weekend. I was scrapbooking, and one of my friends there was making cards, and she had her Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and she actually uses the white medical tape to hold her dies in place. And I asked her, why does she use that instead of washi tape? And she said the reason is she can pull it off and it doesn't leave any kind of sticky residue. It doesn't stick to her papers. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll have to try that. So please know that comes from my friend Kathy. I have not tried it myself, but I do plan to. The next time I go to the drugstore or pharmacy, I'm going to pick up some of that white medical supply tape. And again, I just am using my tape to hold these two frames in place so they don't shift when I roll them through the machine, but I'm centering the frames on my Desert Details metallic DSP. Let's see if I can keep everything in place just like I have it. Also, notice that my frames are turned just a little bit. When you have dies with very straight edges, perfectly straight edges, don't send them through straight. Turn them at an angle a little bit. You're going to get a better cut, because when they go through perfectly straight, it actually makes the rollers kind of jump. And then your cuts aren't as good on those straight edges. So always when you have straight edges that you're die cutting, turn at an angle just a little bit. Okay, let me move this big machine out of the way. I've got my little machine set up, my mini, that I can use for other die cutting. So as you can see, with these two dies together, I now have 3 pieces cut. And I'm going to use each of these 3 pieces on 3 different cards, 1 each on 3 different cards. So let me just pick these up for a second. I also need, for my 3 cards, a half sheet of my Delicate Desert Designer Series paper that I chose. I'm going to cut this in half. So now I have a piece that measures 6 inches by 12 inches. And I'm going to, let's do it. Well, no, let's do it this way. So now I'm going to, so it's 6 by 12, right? So I'm going to cut these to 3 4-inch by 6-inch pieces of DSP. Then on these, I want to cut at 5 1/4 inches. And that bottom 3/4 inch that I'm cutting off can be used to dress up the inside of your cards that we're making. So now we're just going to go one by one and make each of the cards. All of my card bases use the pale papaya color. Actually, this is, let me think, this is a color that will be retiring. So if you like pale papaya, be sure and get some before it goes on the retiring list, which will be probably end of March, early April. Thanks to all of you that shared. I appreciate it so much. I've got basic white 5 1/4 by 4 inches for the inside. And then my DSP that I cut 5 1/4 inch by 4 inch piece for the front. And then I can take that bottom 3/4 inch strip and go ahead and put it on my card right now on the inside. So for this, you do it however way you like best. It can go at the bottom. It can be pulled up from the bottom just a little bit so you get a white strip in there. Or you can put it all the way at the top or all the way at the top with a little white showing. I think I tend to put mine at the bottom, but Maybe I should switch up and start doing the top just for a change of pace. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to use, remember we have those 3 pieces that we cut out using just those 2, oh, come on, just those 2 frames. And I'm going to add this. I keep forgetting to pull out another package of the regular size dimensionals, but these will work fine. I mean, I'm going to put some extra dimensionals on this piece because I want to be sure the entire piece sits up. Normally, I don't use that many dimensionals, but oftentimes the piece I'm popping up is not quite as large as this one is. Okay. Then I want to do just a bit of die cutting, and I'm going to pull in my mini machine for this. I'm going to use this small flower die, which coordinates with the stamp. And I'm going to use this leafy, viney one. It also reminds me of a flame. Does anybody see that? If you're doing a card maybe for a camp out or camping theme or scrapbook page, something like that with a camping theme, I think this would be just awesome. But I'm going to try to cut both of these out at the same time. Tear a little of this off. The ink I used for this flower is Cajun Craze, which is one of the coordinating colors in the DSP and the metallic paper. By the way, if you're not sure where I got my boho blue mini machine, demonstrators had the opportunity to purchase one of these. But anybody that signs up to be on my team last month or this month can get one of these with their starter kit if they choose. You can get the blue one or the white one. Okay, and I have 2 of these. I really only need 1, but I cut 2 because this is for my sentiment. And Lori, it does remind, okay, seaweed. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, lots of people like to make those ocean and beachfront theme cards and scrapbook pages. That would be wonderful for that. Oh, pretty good, Mary. I know I'm talking to myself. Sorry. So now I'm going to add some dimensionals behind this. And I want to put these right on the very ends. You know what? I'm going to put one in the middle too. It's okay that this pops up. I'm going to put it right across here like that. Now this would be a fun, easy card if I just stop there, just because that designer series paper is so very pretty. But I have to go another step further and give it a little wow. I'm going to punch out these things, and I'm going to use some multi-purpose glue just in a few key spots and stick this on my card front like that. And then I'm going to use just a few of these, just maybe 2, I think. And how about this little one? Kind of like that. And then I'm going to add my flower last. And I am going to have my flower popped up on dimensionals, but I'm also going to let it overlap my Calypso Coral cardstock with my sentiment. I'm going to let that overlap just a tiny bit, and it kind of ties it all together, pulls it all together. Again, I could stop right there, couldn't I? It's a beautiful card just like that. But let's bling it up a little bit. What happened to my bling? Here it is. So these are the gold adhesive back sequins. If anybody has an idea for these moon-shaped ones, these crescent moon-shaped ones, I'm really not sure how to use them. Should I use them randomly like the others? I don't know. But I am going to use 2 of these large sequins, or large circle sequins, I'll say. And then a few of the small ones. Oops. And now I'm going to call that card complete. Yes, Sandy, that flame leafy thing, absolutely. If you want to use your adhesive sheet for that, that would work great. Okay. So I'm going to move that one. And yes, I will be giving all 3 cards away today. So hang on with me. Okay. Again, my card base is the same pale papaya. I've got my white 5 1/4 by 4 inch cardstock to put on the inside. And then I will pull in another piece of that pretty Delicate Desert DSP that I cut at the beginning. And the DSP could really go any direction, but I like that kind of wavy, sandy look to it. And I'm also going to add that 3/4 inch strip that we cut off. Again, you place this strip on the inside wherever you think it should be, wherever you like best. Now, I'm going to use that middle frame that came from the die cutting. Oh, Jalen, I like that idea for those crescent moon sequins. Ah, okay. Now you got my brain going. All right. I'm going to add this with some multi-purpose glue. Oh, one thing I should point out here, there is a lot of detail on this, this frame piece. You've got the holes, you've got the little lines, you've got these little corner edges, and there's also these zigzags. Notice that they are cut along their long sides, but not on each end. That really is just to add more dimension and make it more of a decorative frame. Now, I kind of tested myself, and when I made my samples, I decided, I wonder what it's going to look like if I push out all those zigzag pieces. So that's what I did. I just put my piercing tool from my Take Your Pick on the very ends and lifted those out and just gently kind of cut it right there. And so you get to see the DSP behind that. But for this demonstration, we're just going to leave them in because that's a bit time consuming. And I'm just putting some multi-purpose glue in a few key places. Let's not overdo the glue. This goes a long, long way. Little goes a long way. Or as my friend Jackie, who is a retired kindergarten teacher, used to tell her kids, her students, her kindergartners, a dot is a lot. And it is really, really true when it comes to using our multi-purpose glue. Some people also refer to it as green glue, simply because it has the green packaging. Obviously, it's not green. It's a white multi-purpose glue that dries clear. Okay. There. All right. Now I have a 1/2-inch strip of pale papaya. This is cut 3 3/4 inches. And I'm going to use this sentiment that says, sending warm rays your way. Those of us that are dealing with some cold weather, this would be a nice sentiment to receive, right? All right. That's pretty straight. I like the way that turned out. Now, I'll go ahead and add this. And again, I'm adding it with some dimensionals. I am going to be tucking a large flower under this sentiment. You need some warm rays in Minnesota? Yes, I think lots do. Oh, Lori, a dot is a lot and a lake is a mistake. I love that. I never heard that. I can't wait to tell Jackie that. She's going to laugh. Okay. Now, I previously did some stamping, and a couple things I want to tell you about these stamps. This stamp set is referred to as, and my mind just went blank. Oh, you demonstrators who are watching, help me out. What's the name of this type of stamp? It's just escaped me. Anyways, has to do with making it look photorealistic when we stamp. Has lots of teeny tiny details in it. Look at all the tiny details in there. Distinctive. Thank you, Kathy. Distinctive. I kept thinking delicate. No, distinctive stamps. Okay. Nope, distinctive it is. These are rubber stamps. The photopolymers are the ones we look through. One thing to note about using these is you can get too much ink in these. So, and I'll show you what I mean. Consider this when you're using distinctive stamps, and they are marked that in the catalog, distinctive. They're not hard to use, but there's just a little bit of a learning curve with the distinctive stamps. So typically, I tell people tap, tap, tap in their ink pad. Do you see some of those dots in here around the outside of the flower? That means it picked up a lot of ink, excess ink, for this particular stamp. And you can even see where there's extra ink left on that. And that's because it's too much. So let me show you the difference of when I don't have too much on there. And I want to press this to a paper towel just because I want to make sure there's no water droplets in there, because that would make a difference also. So now instead, I'm just going to lay that in there, maybe tap once slightly, and I didn't get all the water out. But you don't see those excess dots of ink pooling. Okay, here's another example of that where I had too much ink on my little stamp, and instead of giving a nice impression, it gave me those dots of excess ink. I redid it, stamping, putting my block into the ink pad only once, and I got this nice impression, and then I stamped off. So, and you all know what I mean about stamping off, right? We stamp once, and then we stamp again. So we stamped off the ink, and then we re-stamped without inking it up more, so that we just get a lighter shade of the same color. All right, and then those work really well together too. So let's do some die cutting, but I wanted to be sure to talk to you about what a distinctive stamp is and give you just that little tip on stamping with distinctive stamps, because there's a big difference. Actually, I have another. I was just, whoops, where did it go? Here it is. Here's another example. Tap, 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 and look what it did. It got real splotchy, dotted, even stayed dotted when I was stamping off a second and a third time because I had way too much ink in there. All right, I saved this as a sample in my stamp set, but I did want to take the time to show you here. Now, just as we had a coordinating die for the small flower, we also have a coordinating die for that large flower as well. And where did my die? Here they are. Ooh, so many things on the table for this. This hobby, or this craft, has really changed dramatically since we now have so many punches and dies available to us. When I first started stamping, which was probably about 17 years ago, there were some punches, but they were usually basic shapes. And I remember shortly, I believe it was about the time I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, or shortly after, which is almost 15 years, that we got our first die cutting machine, and that was called the Big Shot. It was big and black. But yes, it's just like a whole new world. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do this baby. And yes, we could always die cut, fussy cut, but why fussy cut when we can have dies and do it more quickly and more accurately with our dies? There we go. I'm not sure who all is watching here. Oh, Sandy Jarman is. She's new to my team. In the month of January, we added 7 new members to my Mary Stampers team. Mary being spelled M-E-R-R-Y. So that's exciting. It's always fun having new people and sharing the Stampin' Up! Opportunity with them. If you are a Stampin' Up! Enthusiast, it's just a great way to be a part of a fun community of stampers and paper crafters, and to get yourself a discount on all your purchases. Most demonstrators are hobbyists, enjoying the discount, and that is perfectly fine. And then there are some that are picking up some extra income or building a business like me. It's kind of like Burger King, you can have it your way. But if you would like more information about that, all you have to do is message me, and I'm happy to talk to you about that. Okay, pretty card, right? And Mary Ellen, you're one of those happy stampers. Yay, I love it. Jan, who's watching, I know, is also a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I forget where you live, Jan. But just, I mean, I had no idea I could meet so many people and make such great friends through doing something I really love. Nope, no leaves on this one. Nope, I'm gonna leave it just like that. I like to mix things up a bit, Sandy. Okay, so now we have cards 1 and 2, and you can see these were 2 of the 3 pieces that I got when I cut that one sheet of metallic, dry brush metallic DSP with the 2 frames. Put that up, that, and we're ready for our 3rd card. And we'll change things up a bit on this one as well. This card will be somewhat more monochromatic. There will be more emphasis on the pale papaya color. So it will appear to be a little more monochromatic than the first 2 cards. Lynn, nice and frosty up in the UP. I was thinking about you this morning as I was watching the morning weather on the news. Oregon, okay. Jan, I remembered it was either Oregon or Washington. But you have family in Ohio, which is so fun. All right. So I've already die cut 1 flower, and I'm going to die cut these 2. But before I do, and you can see I stamped in pale papaya, and then I immediately stamped off without re-inking to get that lighter shade. Now let me show you something that I probably don't do very often, but when I do, it's fun, something that makes me smile. I'm going to actually stamp this sentiment on this light pale papaya flower, that one that's stamped off. This says, "You are what sunshine feels like." Do you have any of those friends? They just are, just being around them makes you feel happy and warm inside and you want to smile. And that's what I did here. So now the sentiment shows up very well, but it has that pretty floral image in the background. And it's light enough, the flower image is light enough that it doesn't take over. All right, so let's put our card together. Here is the last frame of the set of 3. Remember, I used 1 piece of this dry brush metallic DSP with these 2 frames, and I ended up with these 3 metallic pieces, and I'm using 1 on each of my 3 cards. A dot is a lot, a lake is a mistake. You learn something new every day, right? They say that keeps us young. I hope so. All right, so now I've got my metallic frame on, and I need to die cut 2 more flowers. Whoops. Note, when you get a die cutting machine, It comes with all the plates you need to get started. And they're also numbered. And there are numbers 3 and 4, but I don't need those. Those are for embossing folders. But it tells you right here when you are die cutting, you have plate 1 on the bottom, then you have plate 2, then you put your paper with the die, and then you put number 2 over it. So it's real handy. And also the directions are written out on a piece of paper when you get your Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. It's also, you can also buy replacement plates because after some time, lots of time, it takes a long time, they will wear out and you can replace them, and those directions are in the replacement packs of the cutting plates as well. Whoops. There we go. Oh, Lynn, you like that idea of cutting. She's cutting up paper and cardstock, die cutting, so that she has pieces at the ready when she's card making. Lynn is also on my team, as is Kathy Jordan. I love it when team members jump on here. I love it when you all jump on here. And you know why I love it so much? Because I typically am learning from you as well. Oftentimes, many of you are sharing throughout. And by share, I mean not just share the video, but share your ideas. Sometimes you have tips to offer. That's the best thing about social media, is we can all share and learn and grow together. Sandy, I'm happy to hear that. Always learning. I'm going to place my flower with the sentiment first, and then work the other flowers around it. Oh gosh, come on. You know what? I'm going to need my tool for these, I think. There we go. It's a little quicker. Here. I like to have some flowers tucked under as well. Just like that. And then I'm going to add some of our gold sequins again. This time I'm going to try some of those teardrop shape ones. Is that what you call them? Teardrop shape. These are quite a bit larger. And I'm going to add some of the small size too. How about right here? And then another one, maybe, I don't know, maybe right here. Okay, so let's review really quickly. Today we worked with the, oops, I forgot to put this on the inside, didn't I? I know, isn't that take your pick tool the best? I agree. Kim says she really likes the idea of stamping the sentiment on the stamped off flower. It gives it just a fun, different look, kind of dramatic but subtle at the same time. So now you see how we took that one piece of, this is a little large, this is not the size I used. I cut a piece of this metallic, dry brush metallic DSP to 5 1/8 inch by 3 7/8. And then with these two frame pieces together, these are part of the Delicate Desert die collection. Having those taped together, then I die cut that one piece of specialty paper, and I got these 3 frames from doing that. And then I used one on each of the cards. I do have some DSP on there. I just cut a piece of DSP in half, 6 inches by 12 inches, cut into 4 by 6 inch pieces, and then I cut off a 3/4 inch at the bottom that we use for the inside. And so they look, what do I want to say? They look like they'd be complicated, lots of steps. No, really, what is it? I just made 3 cards, 3 beautiful, different, unique cards in 45 minutes. And that's with me talking all the way through. So as you can see, it's sort of fun to do something like this, where you can, die cut once, but use each of the pieces to make 3 different cards. All right, that is my demonstration for today. I thank you very much for joining me on this Friday afternoon, February 3rd. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I'm going to be doing some work, and I'm also going to be doing some scrapbooking. Actually, part of my work is meeting with Anna, who is working on my logo. So I hope we are close to finishing. It's taken longer than I expected, but she's a new mom and life is keeping her busy, and both she and her baby were sick several weeks ago, and she's just had a lot. So, but I'm excited to meet with her tomorrow and see what she has drawn up for me. Okay. If you are interested in receiving one of these cards and you would like your name entered into the drawing, to do so, please type in the comments now, Delicate Desert. Delicate Desert. Where is my Delicate Desert? That's the name of the product suite. Oh, I know what we can do. And I even got my stamp ready and I forgot to do it. Let's stamp some envelopes. In this stamp set are some fun long stamps, long narrow stamps that have that Southwestern theme to them. Let's use one of those to stamp our envelopes. I'm going to need a piece of scrap paper. This will do. And the first one I'm going to ink up with Pale Papaya. And I'm going to just stamp this right along the left edge of my envelope. It would even look neat going across the flap. Do whatever you like. Just adds a little bit of fun to your happy mail. And the next two I'm going to stamp with my Cajun Craze ink. Again, just lining up the edge of the rubber stamp with the left edge of the envelope. And one more. Okay. Super fun, super quick to stamp those envelopes, and we're all set. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. You know, Shelley Gardner, well, and Sarah Douglas probably has the same thought, but Shelley Gardner, who is one of the co-founders of Stampin' Up! And the board chair now, whenever she would demonstrate a stamping project, and she does beautiful work, just beautiful work. And she kind of has I would say, like a shabby chic look. She loves layers, loves a little bling, but I just love her work. But she would always say no naked envelopes, meaning add a little something to your envelopes to make it a little fun. And I've kind of gotten out of the habit of doing that since I've been doing lots of Facebook Live. So I need to work that back in, don't I? Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great weekend.